and the batteries are not charging. Converter could be going bad, or on the back side here. I could have went with the next model up.
They're not allowed anyway.
Oh yeah, that too.
So, walking only.
It originally marked the grave of one of Jamestown's elites, as she grew up to take a specific role as a peacemaker.
Where do we go?
The museum features more than 4,000 artifacts recovered from the James Fort site. So just a little tip, we're gonna drive out of here a little bit. Have at her, pie girl.
Yeah,
That's better. That's better. Going to go watch the Hawkeye game.
Too hot. We're bringing just a few essentials.
Just a few. Hooked up to shore power, and the batteries are not charging. So, got to get under the bench here. Converter could be going bad, or on the back side here, there's some fuses back here. I need to pull both of them out and see if either one of them's gone bad. If not, the converter's bad. Went ahead and took the bench off. You can get into it through the side, but with all these wires and everything, I wanted to be able to get to it a little bit easier. We do happen to have a camping road close by. It's only $226, $240 with tax. Problem is, they're back ordered. Checking around this whole area where we're at right now, nobody has one except for one place up here by Richmond, Virginia. The only problem with that one, they want $363. Well, Camping World and everybody else is out of stock because all the orders are on a ship sitting there waiting to be delivered. Could have went with the next model up, but then it would have required me to put a 20 amp fuse in, and I just don't have the time for that. I would have to have actually had that one shipped from Amazon, and it would have took a few days. Made it back and got the new converter here. It's just got some mounting screws that holds this down. It's got a 110 plug-in that plugs into the back of the panel here. And then it's got a ground wire and a hot and a negative wire that we have to take off. Turn the power off, and I even did the disconnect on the 12 volt just to make sure there is no power. Didn't really need to, but just to be safe. And the lighting that I'm getting right now is a ring light, and using our Jackery to power it. The first thing I want to do is take the power cord and unplug it. So I got it unplugged. Now I'm just going to take the screws out so I can move it, and then we'll get the negative and the positive off there. On one side, I left the screws in the floor. I just loosened them up a little bit because it has these little slots on here that you can slide it out. And then this side, I took them completely out. That way I can just take this, slide it out, and I'll just slide the other one right in there. Now, all we have is this ground wire right here on the side, kind of hard to see, and these two wires here. So I'm gonna take these off, cap them, just to be safe, and then we'll just replace those onto the new unit. All right, we got it all installed, and to take this one out and put the new one back in, it took about 10 minutes total time. That does not include taking the bench off and everything, but so it's pretty easy to swap out. That being said, we're going to turn the power back on, turn the disconnect back on for the 12 volt, and see if it kicks on and charges our batteries. You can hear it running. Come over here, 13.2. It instantly says it's at 13.2. That's because this is running. Once the batteries get to the level they're supposed to be, then this will kick off. But looks like we're back up and running again. And just for the record, I am not an electrician, don't claim to be. I'm just kind of sharing what worked for me and changing this out myself. Now when I took the wires off, the ground wire, of course, you don't have to do this, but I'd use a wire connector. I'd take one off at a time, cap it really tight, and then lay it off to the side. And then I'd do the same thing with the live wire, the hot wire. We're in one of those rushing moments here this morning, and at the time of this video right now, we're not sure what all we're going to get done for the day. Get a chance to come to the Chesapeake Bay area, the Thousand Trails here. We really like it here.
Love this park.
Big sites and most of the sites. We're at the historic Jamestown Visitor Center on Jamestown Island.
Part of the national park system. So I looked online and it does look like we can use our national park annual pass, which is a reduced fee.
Instead of free?
Yeah. It's not free. I think only the access pass and a military pass and a senior citizens pass will get you in free. The annual pass is just a reduced cost.
That's weird because usually with this pass it's supposed to be free everywhere.
Yeah.
First time we ran into that. National park passes are available here.
The reason that we still had to pay $10 is because of the Virginia preservation fee, and they are the ones that are still excavating, doing the archaeological work here, and so that money still goes to them so that they can still do that, and they've been doing that since 1893.
Wow.
And so they give you a sticker that you have to wear. This is like your
sticker,
your own
boy
tour, self-guided tour, and
I'm
they
not
give
putting
you a
that
map.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Not putting it over my Hawkeye though.
The area, she said, was a mile, right?
Yeah, a total mile
loop or whatever.
from the visitor center. It's just a mile long, there and back. So it shouldn't be far at all. We thought about getting our e-bikes out, but a mile? Really?
No, and she said they're not allowed anyway.
Oh yeah, that too.
So walking
But
only.
People were getting their bikes out to
Do some other loop trail thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
something else.
Something else.
There she is.
Ah.
I'm so glad we're hurrying because we don't have much time today, do we?
No, I was just checking to make sure there wasn't any other maps or anything that we needed to get.
For this whole mile long?
Yeah.
I know you can't really tell here, but it's kind of a swampy type land. I see some water up in that area up here. Historic Jamestown is home to the ruins of the first permanent English settlement in North America. The Tercentennial Monument looks much like that of the Washington Monument in the nation's capital. It was placed on Jamestown Island by the United States government in 1907 for the 300th anniversary of the settlement. It cost $50,000 and stands 104 feet tall, which represents 1 foot for each of the first settlers. The monument is made of New Hampshire granite.
There's extreme snow and ice and sleet. They were having these fairs on the frozen Thames, right at London.
Jamestown Church is one of the oldest surviving building remnants built by Europeans in the original 13 colonies and in the United States overall. It was first constructed in brick starting in 1639, and as a result of detailed surveys of the site by Jamestown Rediscovery, 6 churches are believed to have been built on 2 different sites at Jamesport. Churches 1 and 2 were located inside the confines of the original fort, whereas churches 3 through 6 were built nearby on the current site. The oldest surviving visible section of any structure is the tower, dating in the mid-17th century. The current structure, active as part of the Anglican Church, is still in use today. The ruins are currently being researched by members of the Jamestown Rediscovery Project. The Knight's Tombstone is a 32 by 68 inch broken ledger stone of Belgian black limestone. It originally marked the grave of one of Jamestown's elites in the floor of the 1617 church. It was relocated to the southern entrance of the brick church in the 1640s during construction on the same site, so the original placement was lost. Carved depressions present on the top of the stone originally held engraved monumental brasses, but those were missing at time of discovery. The outline of the depressions depicted a gentleman in armor, which indicated the grave marker was for a knight, likely Governor Sir George Yeardley. Pocahontas was a favorite daughter of the most powerful Native American in Virginia. She took a keen interest in the new settlers on the island and the big river that flowed to the bay. As she grew up to take a specific role as a peacemaker between the English and the Powhatan Indians, a role that her early death cut short, giving her uncle an opportunity to order a massive sneak attack that killed hundreds of colonists. The world of Pocahontas changed dramatically during her lifetime, including her announcement to Chief Powhatan about her conversion to Christianity and her desire to marry English tobacco grower John Rolfe. She chose to take an English name, Rebecca, that means mother of two peoples, and they married in the large church inside James Fort on April 5, 1614.
It's time their minds don't live here anymore. They've been sold, torn, now old. Where do we go? It's been 100,000 minutes past the hour. The fuse refused to stop this burnout. Hey, tango de la muerte. Now to's the crowd. So fast yet slow. Gonna go in now. Surf the void unemployed. I'll see you later when the flash floods come. I'll see you later when the pie seas run. Gonna steer away now.
More than 20 years of archaeological excavations have reshaped understanding of life in James Fort, how the first English settlers fashioned a new American society in a foreign land, and the relationships with the Virginia Indians. The Natalie P. and Alan M. Voorhees Archaearium, Historic Jamestown's award-winning archaeology museum, brings to life the stories of the first settlers and the struggles they endured through the objects they left behind. The museum features more than 4,000 artifacts recovered from the James Fort site since the beginning of the Jamestown Rediscovery Project in 1994. The exhibits are updated periodically to reflect recent archaeological discoveries, so even those who have visited previously are likely to find something new.
Definitely worth $10 each, I think.
Yeah, there was more
Artifacts?
to see than I thought there would be.
Mm-hmm.
And from like what we were looking at online, it's a lot more than what it appeared online.
We were there, what, maybe an hour and a half-ish?
Yeah,
Think
quite a
so.
while. And
Maybe
we tried to go through it quick because we have other plans here, and we're trying to get to do as much as we can here.
If you have like another day, or at least a full day to do Jamestown and Yorktown, could do those.
You could probably do them both in
Yeah,
one day.
yeah.
You know, it sounds like Yorktown. We've heard that it's just a big field, but they do
Well,
have a museum too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have time for that, but it leaves more things for us to do next time we come here. And there's so much history
Yes.
down this whole East Coast, and there's no way that you can get to see and do everything, along with everything else there is to do. So
Definitely would come back to this area.
yeah,
Chesapeake Bay area.
if you're going to come here to Jamestown, I suggest putting your next stop in on your GPS before you get here, and leave that on, like another phone or something, because we've noticed once we're here, our GPS isn't working. So
On
we're-
Verizon.
Yeah, on Verizon, yeah. It has one bar, but it's going extremely slow, and it's not pulling up anything on the map. So just a little tip, we're going to drive out of here a little bit until we get enough signal to do that. We're going to eat at this place called Food for Thought. Really high reviews.
Yes.
4.5 stars out of almost 2,600 or something like that. Good try. Michelle saw this. No preservatives. She said.
I might have to have that.
Okay, so they give you bread and some cornbread, and they even have a gluten-free bun for me to try. A roll, I should say. And guess what Brian gets? You guessed it, a burger. Gluten-free bread. Your ribs look amazing.
Yeah, they smell really good.
Well, what are you waiting on?
You?
So why is this closer to me?
I knew she was going to say that.
Pecan pie. Have at her, pie girl. Please do tell me how it is.
Here's the food.
Oh, I gotta try it?
You gotta find out.
I can't have any crust though.
Oh my.
You can tell it's gonna be good already? And?
And it's warm. Oh my god.
That good, huh?
Yeah.
Rating?
That's an easy 9 there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How about those ribs?
Those were 9.
Yeah,
Those were very good.
the ribs were.
Yeah, this is really good. As far as pecan pie, this is very, very good.
She's not kidding. Solid 9. The burger was an 8. I should have got the ribs. She gave me part of the ribs because it was too much to eat. What is it?
Time to go home? Call it a day.
There you go.
Time to call it a day. I'm
That's
already,
better.
like, sleepy.
That's better.
Lots of carbs.
Let's go.
let's call it a day.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click that little bell, and hit that thumbs up. See you next week.